number of years. Cities know how to get things done in 2 to 5 years. Counties and states, 10, 20 years. So, thank you. Look, I can't tell a lie, folks. Look, the U.S. Department of Transportation has been busy these past several months, starting to roll out the bipartisan infrastructure law. Tell us what programs should cities be getting ready to apply for this year? Because oftentimes that's a complication in itself.
Right. That's right. So we're talking about a lot of discretionary programs that are available directly to local communities. Let me name a few. First of all, there's the RAISE grant program, formerly known as Tiger, formerly known as BUILD, and formerly not quite as big as it is now with 2.275. We just got our appropriation. Yeah, $2.275 billion going to it this year alone. And that is available directly for local authorities, local governments to apply to. So that's one I would definitely take a look at because it's so flexible and wide-ranging, and we know you're going to put those dollars to good work.
Okay.
Last year's round, we got $10 worth of applications for every $1 that we actually had.
Wow.
And so more than doubling the funding was a great example of a bipartisan good idea that actually got done, even in today's Washington. Yeah. So that's one, RAISE program. Port Infrastructure Development Program, PIDP. And that's not just for big coastal communities. There are a lot of inland ports, waterways that can use this. We funded things, of course, on the east and west coast. We've also funded things in the Midwest.
Okay.
I
would
got
take
a
port
look at
in Savannah.
All right, that's right. Okay. Yeah, you do, and an impressive one at that. The combined $1.2 billion for low and no emission buses and for bus and bus facilities, because we know how much people are counting on transit in order to get to where they need to go, but also we know how tough it is to run transit if you don't have the support to have the routes, to have the frequency, in order to entice more people to take advantage and get that virtuous cycle going where you have more ridership, more revenue, more support, and more use. So, and let me also point to the about $100 billion in loan capacity we have with our Build America Bureau. So those are just a few examples of what's there, and there's more where that came from. In addition to the $5 billion on electric vehicle charging going out to the states, there's a dedicated discretionary community funding program that is coming next, and that's going to be very important for people to have access to electric vehicle chargers, which is a big part of giving more people the benefit of EVs. Pretty much any priority that you have in your community, there is going to be an opportunity to apply for funding through the programs that we grew in the infrastructure.
Now, I know we have, just a little more time left, but I want to ask you, when you talk about the opportunity of applying for these types of grants and loans, how cumbersome will it be for cities? Because small and mid-sized cities have had, a hard time getting those types of dollars.
Right. So how many of you have half a dozen full-time federal relations staff on the payroll of your cities? Right?
You know the answer to that. Yeah.
So we get it, and we're going to make it easier. We know how important this is. I can't promise you that it will be as easy as we want it to be overnight, but I promise you we're working on this every day, because I've been there. I was mayor of a city of 100,000 people. We had 0 full-time federal relations staff on our city payroll, although we had some very smart people working to navigate these processes. We just stood up 40 new programs, or we're standing them up as part of the infrastructure law, on top of the ones we had. Okay. We can't ask you to navigate 40 different application processes. We get that. So that's one of the reasons you're going to see more combined applications. You know, what do they call it? The common application for college?
Yeah.
So you don't have to fill in your zip code 7 different times on 7 different sheets of paper when you're applying to college. We're trying to make it a little more like that to apply for federal grants, a little more user-friendly for communities and their staffs.
Yeah.
Precisely because it is the communities that would benefit most, that are often smaller, lower income, rural, that we need to go out of our way to be more user-friendly for. Wow. So we get it. Now, by the same token, we're also encouraging communities to join forces and find ways to batch or simplify some of what you're doing so that you can arrive at our doorstep in a more consolidated way. So we'll do everything we can to make it easier for you. Work with us to help make it more simplified coming into us.
We're ready to work with you.
And
sir.
we'll do everything
Yes,
we can to
indeed.
make it
Yes,
happen.
indeed. I know cities of every size and type are looking at how they can partner with USDOT on their priority projects. Some on their priority projects, but some for the very first time in a long time. What are some of the recent great projects from cities and towns that USDOT has been able to fund? Can you talk to us about that?
Yeah, I mean, again, we haven't been able to fund as many as we liked until the president's infrastructure law passed, but I'm proud of the ones that we've done. We're doing about $15 million for a multimodal transit facility in Charlotte that connects light rail, streetcar, bus, bike, pedestrian all together. We're also working with a lot of smaller communities. So, for example, I think a lot of folks heard about the $52 million we did for Long Beach, the Port of Long Beach, to help with that expansion. We talk about ports in Long Beach, California. But let me also tell you about a grant that we did, again through the RAISE program, for Long Beach, Mississippi. A lot of people have heard of Long Beach, Mississippi. It's got 19,000 people.
I have. I'm from Memphis.
That's right. You actually know the name. It's on the Gulf Coast there.
Yeah.
And they have a project where they're trying to connect Highway 90 to I-10. And we were able to fund, with over $10 million, we were able to fund a really important stretch, the first 6.4 miles of that. So again, this is for communities of all sizes. And those are the capital grants. We're also doing planning grants. St. Paul, Minnesota has a neighborhood that was, some folks maybe know about the Rondo neighborhood.
Yeah.
I-94 chewed up communities of color when it was put in. And there may be an opportunity to do something about that. Okay. And so there's a $1.4 million planning grant headed to St. Paul to help them think about that. So there's just a few examples of things we can do. And we're proud to do it. Again, you all are the ones doing the work. The cities, the communities are making it happen. We're just trying to back you up with the kind of policy support and the kind of funding that it takes to succeed.
Well, it's really great to have someone such as yourself sitting in your office now, because you understand what it means to us and you know the challenges we have. So we appreciate what you do each and every day, looking out for cities, because we are tired of waiting. I'm tired of waiting. I don't know about them.
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Secretary, we know transportation is really about making our communities' lives better at home.
Yeah.
How can cities partner with the administration to prioritize people and their well-being in our communities?
So I love the way you asked that question, because that's what I think we need to think about more in transportation in general. When we talk about transportation, we talk about it too much, I think, in terms of the things: the road, the bridge, the bus, the train set, the piece of catenary, whatever it is, all of which is important. But the reason it actually matters, of course, is that people's lives are shaped by this work. I've been thinking a lot about a conversation I had in New Jersey. We were talking about commuter rail, and one of the people who came to talk to us explained how she was not the kind of mother that she wanted to be.
Gotcha.
Because of the length of time it took her to get from home to where she worked. So she couldn't spend the time that she wanted to with her kids. Okay. And when you think about it that way, when you think about how intimate the course of our lives, how intimately it can be shaped by transportation, that's what this is actually about. It's about creating opportunity, getting people to work, getting people to school.
Right.
And a good transportation project is one that sees that and connects the dots.
Okay.
Connects people literally between where they are and where they need to be, but figuratively between where they are in life and where they'd like to go. One thing I've been reflecting on a lot is that we technically, of course, measure distance in terms of miles, but in our actual lived experience, we measure it in terms of minutes. Right? 10 miles is as good as 5 miles if they're both 12 minutes away.
That's true, yeah.
And what we do when we have a good transportation vision, whether we're talking about a ferry or a road or a bike path, we're helping people manage the minutes that stand between where they are and where they need to go. Your job, your grocery store, your grandma, wherever it is you are trying to get to. And so people's lives will be better when we do that right. And what I'm asking our community partners to do is to find those opportunities that can stitch together all the things that are going to make life better in this country, getting people to where they need to be, doing it equitably, especially in areas that used to be left out, doing it with regard to the climate opportunity, because transportation is the biggest part of greenhouse gas emissions in this country.
got it, yeah.
And doing it together, because we are really looking forward to partnering with the leaders at the local level to actually make this happen.
My friend, thank you for that insight. Look, thank you, Mayor Pete.
Thank you.
As always, it's a pleasure. We appreciate your ongoing support of the nation's cities, towns, and villages.
Thank you.
And thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hug your kids for me. All right, take care. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you, Secretary Pete. Ladies and gentlemen, I am very excited about our next guest. Very excited. Super excited. Looks like you're excited. Are we really excited? I don't know if my people in the back are excited. And they messing with my mind right now. Look, this gentleman needs no introduction. Are you excited? Look, I'm going to stop teasing you. Look, our next guest is no stranger to NLC. I told you, my folks. They got to catch up. They don't know. I know how to do this stuff. Good God. I'm teasing y'all and they get nervous. But anyway, this next guest is no stranger to NLC. She has been a phenomenal leader in many capacities. I got you now. Ambassador Susan Rice is the domestic. I got you, didn't I? Ambassador Susan Rice is the domestic policy advisor in the Biden administration. In this role, she drives the formation and implementation of the president's domestic policy agenda. Prior to serving in this critical position, she served as the U.S. permanent representative to the United Nations and National Security Advisor for President Barack Obama. Please welcome to the stage Ambassador Susan Rice. You gotta have fun, you know.
Good afternoon, NLC. How about that Mayor Williams with a quick switch up there? That was smooth. It's good to be with you all. So many dedicated municipal leaders. Actually, after the last 2 years, it's good to be anywhere that's not in front of a Zoom screen. The simple fact that we're here in person is a key indication, as President Biden will remind us in just a bit, that we are building a better America. While we continue to face real challenges, from Russian aggression to inflation, as the President said in his State of the Union address, we are stronger today than we were a year ago, and we will be stronger a year from now than we are today. And in so many ways, your communities have led the charge. I have the privilege of driving President Biden's domestic policy agenda in the White House and across the federal government, from health care to economic mobility to rural and urban policy. So today I want to highlight the work we've been doing together to tackle 3 urgent and at times interconnected challenges: rising gun crime, our mental health crisis, and the opioid epidemic. When it comes to keeping our communities safe, we're working to build trust between law enforcement and the communities they're sworn to serve, because we should not have to choose between public safety and public trust. Last June, the President laid out his comprehensive strategy to tackle gun crime and help make our communities safer. We're reining in the proliferation of ghost guns. We're expanding employment opportunities in after-school and summer programming. We're helping formerly incarcerated individuals successfully re-enter their communities. And we're investing in two key strategies that we know work: community policing and community violence interventions. And we're just getting started. The bipartisan funding agreement just enacted by Congress invests nearly $4 billion for state and local law enforcement and crime prevention programs, a 15% increase. And President Biden continues to press for an historic $5 billion in evidence-based community violence intervention programs. Additionally, cities across the country are already leveraging hundreds of billions in American Rescue Plan dollars to reduce gun crime. Here in Washington, D.C., the city has deployed 50 new violence interrupters in 24 neighborhoods. Los Angeles County and Milwaukee are prioritizing job training and employment for young people. Tulsa is providing $3,000 stipends to hire more police officers. Because as President Biden has made clear, the way to tackle violent crime isn't to defund the police, it's to fund accountable police with the resources and training they need to protect our communities. And as we near the summer, when gun crime typically increases, I'd like to make an urgent plea. If you have already committed American Rescue Plan funding to reduce gun crime, consider doubling down. If you haven't yet, now is the time. And don't just commit funding, deploy those dollars swiftly, before the summer. We can save lives right now, so let's do it. A second area of top priority is our mental health crisis. 2 out of 5 adults report symptoms of anxiety or depression, and 1 in 3 high schoolers say they've experienced persistent feelings of sadness or hopelessness. This is unprecedented. That's why we've dedicated $5.5 billion just over the last year, the most federal funding in history, to address mental health and substance use. President Biden, as part of our unity agenda, called for a major transformation in how the nation approaches mental health. That means dramatically expanding our mental health workforce and system capacity, like bringing more and more diverse providers into behavioral health, and launching the 988 crisis response line. It means connecting more people to care, from expanding telehealth to improving insurance coverage for mental health. And it means creating healthy environments, including instituting stronger protections for our young people online. Here again, our cities are leading the way. For example, Columbus, Ohio has leveraged ARP and other relief funds to hire an additional 28 school counselors, with plans for each school in the district to have a full-time counselor. Just think what that might mean to a student coping with the upheaval of the last several years. Someone to talk to about their academic and social pressures. Perhaps a shoulder to lean on while grieving a lost family member. For so many young people, this is a game changer. For some, it could be a lifesaver. So let's make these investments in our kids' health and well-being. Finally, and relatedly, we're working to address the devastating opioid epidemic that steals an American life once every 7 minutes. This is a public health crisis demanding a public health response, and it requires a unified response. All of our communities have been touched by the pain of overdose and addiction, and all of us must be part of the solution. That's why President Biden also made addressing this epidemic part of our unity agenda, and why the bipartisan funding agreement Congress just passed will empower communities like yours to meet this epidemic head-on. We're investing in prevention by funding coalitions to build drug-free communities from Miami, Florida to Sitka, Alaska. We're prioritizing harm reduction, meaning a responder on a college campus in Santa Barbara can access naloxone and get trained in using it to reverse an overdose. We're removing outdated barriers to treatment to make it easier for a primary care doctor in Sioux City to prescribe life-saving medication to her patients struggling with opioid addiction. And we're working to reduce the supply of illicit drugs, including cracking down on traffickers and seizing more than 15,000 pounds of fentanyl last year. Addressing any one of these challenges is a tall order, but I've been inspired by the efforts of local leaders like you. Last month, I accompanied President Biden and Mayor Adams in New York City. We joined a daily meeting where federal, state, and local law enforcement share intelligence to take repeat shooters off the streets. We also met with community violence intervention leaders. Nobody hid behind slogans. They didn't get hung up on ideology. Everyone was just rolling up their sleeves and solving problems. It was public service at its best. And it gave me renewed confidence that we can and we will build a stronger and more equitable future for our cities and our nation. That is the task before us. That's what this moment demands, and that is the America we can and must deliver for the people we serve. Thank you for all you do for the citizens of this country. Thank you for your leadership and your support.
How y'all doing? How about Susan Rice? All right. Look, I got y'all. I got them. I even got Susan Rice a little nervous. But anyway, look, this is all about having fun. I love y'all, and there ain't nothing you can do about it. Our next speaker knows all about challenges and opportunities we have as local leaders of America. He began his political career serving on the Newcastle County Council in Delaware. He knows from experience that intergovernmental cooperation is critical to our country. With that in mind, he championed direct and flexible federal relief for local governments when COVID hit our shores. A year ago, the American Rescue Plan Act was signed into law. You need to get up off your feet right now. Since then, ARPA has made a difference in the lives of millions of Americans and has empowered us all, local leaders, to fulfill our piece of the promise to our cities, towns, and villages. Thanks to the funding of ARPA, my hometown in Fulton County, Georgia, Union City, served 1,500 households with emergency rental assistance to help them pay rent or utilities as we weathered the storm of the pandemic. Now, it is my deep and humble honor to announce the President of these United States of America, Joe Biden!
Great to be back with you all in person this time. Please sit down. Please sit down, if you have a seat. Mr. President, Mayor Vince Williams, thank you for your leadership of this organization, your leadership down in Union City, Georgia. I wanted to come here because you're the people America looks to first for guidance and for leadership, and that's not hyperbole. City managers, mayors, council persons, when you have a problem, they're knocking on your doors. That's because their quality of life depends on you more than anyone else. And I'm not trying to be solicitous. I know from personal experience. When I was a 27-year-old kid, I got elected to the Newcastle County Council, which we're like a miniature Illinois. One county has 60% of the population of the state. And so the councilman represents a district 7 times bigger than a state rep and 3 times bigger than a state senator. And fortunately, after 2 years, I was elected for 4 years. After 2 years, the Republican Party saw in me something I didn't see. And so they reapportioned me to a 2-year term from a district that was overwhelmingly Republican to overwhelmingly Republican. So I got put in the position, that old saying goes, up or out. So I do appreciate what you all do. I really mean it. You're there. You can't walk into a grocery store or gas station. You can't go into a supermarket without someone having a question for you. And because you're the people they know. You're the people they depend on. You're out there every day in the front lines of public service. And that's why when I took office last year in the midst of the worst health pandemic in a century, the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression, I knew we had to design a rescue plan with your partnership to meet your needs. 3 days ago marked the 1-year anniversary I signed the American Rescue Plan. I learned as a councilman, I never have anything that's intended to be shared by the cities and towns that has to go through a state legislature. No, I mean it. The most significant investment in local government in all of history was in that plan. And frankly, you couldn't have gotten it done without your support and so many local officials around the country. I don't need to remind you the situation you all inherited in 2020, the pain, the disruption, the stress of your local budgets, requiring you to lay off cops, firefighters, teachers. So many people lost their jobs. And to remember the lines of cars stretching for miles in your communities, with families just waiting for a box of food to be put in the back seat of the trunk. Because of this law, we were able to help 41 million Americans put food on the table for the better part of a year. Because of this law, we helped keep a roof over 4 million people's heads. And it gave families what my dad would call just a little bit of breathing room in a tough time. And it worked. Because we took action, America added 6.7 million jobs last year. More jobs created in 1 year than ever before in American history. And hadn't stopped. We're now well over 7 million jobs, 678,000 just last month. The unemployment rate is down to 3.8%. The economy grew at 5.7% last year. The strongest growth in 4 decades. The leading financial team on Wall Street, Moody's, estimated that because of the rescue plan, 4 million more jobs were created, and unemployment is lower by 2% than it would have been had we failed to act. 1 year after signing this law, our cities, our towns, and our rural communities are roaring back. Before this law, state and local governments were still down more than 1 million jobs from before the pandemic. 1 year later, we had at least 1 year of state and local job growth, the largest in 20 years, adding 467,000 jobs. Educators, firefighters, police officers back on the job. Before this law, fewer than half our schools were open, putting an extraordinary strain on parents and teachers and students. 1 year later, more than 99% of our schools are open, and kids are back in the classroom. And folks, we just had the strongest year of hiring teachers and educators on record. But there's more to the story than that. America has had many recoveries in the past. But underneath those recoveries, there's also been a lot of lasting pain. Lots of folks never get back on their feet when they're knocked down so badly. And a whole lot of young people saw their futures dimmed from the previous recession. They never got back on their feet. It's what economists call economic scarring. Chronic pain when the economy comes back, but some folks are still left behind. Trapped in long-term unemployment, eviction and foreclosure. Research shows that when you're stuck in that cycle, it has the worst impact on your emotional health than the loss of a family member, which sounds excessive, but it's true. And it's serious. So when I came to office, in the midst of this crisis, I was determined not to let that happen again. This time around, the American Rescue Plan, we made a choice to bring everyone along, every single person in America. So not only has the unemployment rate dropped at a record pace, we've also seen the biggest drop in long-term unemployment ever recorded in a 12-month span. Nearly 2.5 million people breaking out of that cycle of long-term unemployment and depression. Black unemployment fell by more than 30%. Hispanic unemployment fell from nearly 9% to 4.4%, the fastest drop ever recorded. And we've seen was something we should be doing again, but I'm having trouble getting it passed again, and that is the child tax credit. The lowest child poverty rate projected in 40 years, a 40-year decline. Folks, we also have the lowest number of home foreclosures ever recorded, a record low of credit card delinquencies because families had more money in their pockets. The list goes on, but you all know it better than I do. A big part of the reason we're so successful is because the rescue plan went directly to you without having to pass go, without having to go to state housing. Folks, we allocated $350 billion to state and local budgets, but we made sure $130 billion of that went straight to local governments, straight to local government. 6,000 local governments never got a dime of the early relief package enacted before I came to office. But we made sure that every one of you was dealt into the rescue plan. As a former local official, I know that it matters. Having that flexibility and control to meet both the short-term and the long-term challenges you face. 1 year later, the rescue plan is still delivering. So I urge you all to use the flexibility we built in the law to spend these funds wisely, to reduce violence in your communities like members are doing in Baton Rouge and Baltimore and in New York City, to address homelessness and affordable housing like you're doing in Tacoma and New York City, to expand high-speed internet like Brownsville, Texas, or to train people for good-paying jobs like you're doing in Oklahoma City. And by the way, there are a lot of jobs coming to people that you're going to need to train up people, thanks to the bipartisan infrastructure bill. Everybody knew, and you heard from my secretary a little bit earlier, America is falling behind in infrastructure. We used to be #1 in the world. We're now #8. But now, not only has Infrastructure Week finally arrived, we're talking about infrastructure decade, not week. Folks, we've already authorized 4,000 projects all across the country, including 1,500 bridges in disrepair, and they're starting this year, not later, this year. And the law is going to create millions of jobs, rebuilding Americans' roads, bridges, highways, ports, and airports, getting rid of poisonous lead pipes in 10 million homes and 400,000 schools so kids and families can have clean drinking water. Folks, we're investing $65 billion to deliver high-speed internet everywhere in America. Urban, rural, suburban, tribal communities. We can't be a country where a mother has to take her kid to the McDonald's parking lot to do their homework over the internet. This is the United States of America, for God's sake. And folks, the law is going to put an end to that, obviously, and it's only the beginning. Hundreds of billions of new investments are on the way. Today, Secretary Buttigieg announced $409 million in new grants, 70 new projects, 39 states, just the beginning. Electric buses to make bus service safer, more reliable, environmentally sound. Helping folks in big cities, small towns get to work and get to school. Projects like a new $15 million bus maintenance facility serving Atlanta. $5 million to buy cleaner, more reliable hydrogen fuel cells for buses. Replacing old diesel engines in southern Nevada, and so much more. It's now time for cities and towns to get ready. You don't have to wait until these infrastructure projects start. You're going to need more welders, pipe fitters, advanced manufacturers, and it takes training to get the job done well. And that's why all these programs, these apprenticeship programs, union programs, and by the way, when people talk about an apprenticeship program, we're talking like going to 4 years of college. It's 4 years. That's why they're the best workers in the world when they finish. Projects are cheaper because they last longer and they're better. You can start by investing in those rescue plan funds now, in new pathways to better jobs through union-based apprenticeships and on-the-job training. Build a strong, diverse workforce you need to take on these infrastructure jobs, so the families in your communities can deal themselves into this booming economy. Look, we have an incredible opportunity ahead of us. But despite the progress we made, we know that families are still struggling with higher prices. I grew up in a family or when the price of gas went up at the pump, gas station, we talked about it at the kitchen table. But let's be absolutely clear about why prices are high now. They're high for two reasons. One was COVID. The way the global economy works, if a factory in Taiwan that makes computer chips shuts down due to a COVID outbreak, it causes a ripple effect to slow down auto manufacturing in Detroit, literally, not figuratively. So because of the pandemic, we had significant disruptions in the supply chain. And our supply chain is so important with so many materials that come from other places. At the same time, because the rescue plan boosted the strength and speed of our recovery, Americans had more money in their pockets. And during the pandemic, they wanted to spend that money not on restaurants and vacations because of COVID, but on hard goods, home improvements, televisions, automobiles. But the lumber factories weren't open. They weren't making 2x4s. Plywood wasn't available. I can go down the list. The very products that we needed for the things they wanted to buy are slowed down by disruptions in the supply chain. So what happens? Prices went up significantly. Just look at automobiles. Last year, new automobiles accounted for 1/3 of all the inflation in America because the auto companies couldn't get the computer chips. The price of an automobile skyrocketed. And now, the second big reason for inflation is Vladimir Putin and gas prices. Not a joke. We've seen the price of gas go up over $1 just since he put his troops on the border of Ukraine. They went up $1.05. Big part of that reason is Putin began amassing troops along the border and then crossed. And guess what? The world took notice. The market anticipated. Prices went up. And then Putin invaded. Make no mistake, the current spike in gas prices is largely the fault of Vladimir Putin. It has nothing to do with the American Rescue Plan. Back to Wall Street. Wall Street estimated that and the San Francisco Federal Reserve analyzed it, said the rescue plan contributed only 0.3% to inflation. 0.3%. That's coming from the Fed. Rescuing our economy didn't cause this problem, but we're working to fix it. We're building this economy from the bottom up and the middle out, and something incredible is happening. We're seeing a manufacturing revival like never before. The pride that comes from stamping products made in America. That, hold a minute, one of the things you should be aware of is a law I was unaware of when I was a senator, to be honest with you. It's called Made in America. As President of the United States, I get to allocate over $600 billion in spending on federal projects. Any federal project, President since 1939, has been able to say that entire project has to be made in America before I'm going to pay for it. Well, guess what? 55% of the product was made in America was thought to be made in America. I'm changing that. I'm changing that. It has to be a minimum of 75%, and then, because where in the hell is it written saying we can't manufacture things in America again? I don't know where that's written. And so guess what? Intel came to me. They're going to, yes, by the way, yes, the chairman of the board came. They're going to invest $20 billion to build a factory in Ohio to manufacture computer chips. Semiconductors that will power the world in our everyday lives, smartphones, the internet, technology that doesn't even exist today. And they're prepared to increase that investment from $20 billion to $100 billion in the suburb of Cleveland. So now, create over 12,000 jobs, some of them just building the facilities, but the rest, blue-collar workers making an average of $135,000 a year in these factories. And as soon as the Congress sends me the bipartisan innovation bill, a bill that will invest another $52 billion in computer chips, I might add, by the way, we invented the computer chip here in America. we advanced the computer chip here in America. Then we stopped making the computer chip here in America. And that's going to bring down prices of automobiles, appliances, and so much more. And that's not just Intel. So look at Ford. I had a long discussion with Ford and General Motors and the Detroit factories. Ford's committed $11 billion to build electric vehicles in America, the biggest investment they've ever made. GM has committed $7 billion to build electric vehicles. Just a few years ago, these companies might have built these factories elsewhere. Not now. They're building it right here in the United States of America again. But look, we also know there's much more than one way to increase people's standard of living. You can reduce the cost. Look, right now, what's the problem? Again, my dad used to say, people just need a little bit of breathing room. My dad was my dad was just a wonderful, decent gentleman whose greatest regret was he never went to college. My dad used to talk about how middle-class folks, when ever given a chance, they've never, ever, ever let the country down. Never let the country down. When they do well, everybody does well. But look, so gasoline prices, home heating oil prices are going to continue to go up because of these embargoes on Russian oil and other things that he's brought on. But what happened? There's other ways. My dad used to talk about the standard of living. It costs a lot more money if you have to pay $5 at the pump for a gallon of gasoline. And it affects families big time, or to heat your home. But guess what? If you lower the cost of child care, it affects your standard of living. And that's why we're going to make sure no one has to pay more than 7% of their income on child care. There are over 200,000 kids in America and many more adults with type 1 diabetes needing insulin every day. It costs $10 to make a vial of insulin. The average cost, $647 a month, up to $1,000. Not going to happen on my watch. No one's going to be able to charge more than $35 a month for insulin. They'll still make a big profit. The average family, when we passed the provision allowing for tax credit for homeowners to winterize their homes, can save an average of $500 a month just by having doors that don't leak, windows that don't leak, and so on. So look, let me be clear. None of this will increase inflation. 17 Nobel Prize winners in economics wrote to me saying it would ease inflationary pressures. We can also do it without raising a single penny on tax of anybody making under $400,000 a year. If you make less than $400,000, you're not going to pay a penny in tax. We have to do this by asking the top and the biggest corporations to pay a little more. Look, I'm a capitalist. If you can make $1 million or $1 billion, good for you. But pay your fair share. Pay a little bit. By the way, whether you're Democrats or Republicans, raise your hand if you think the tax structure is fair now. Look. '55. I come from the corporate capital of the world. You got it. Well, you think I'm kidding. There are more corporations incorporated in Delaware than every other state in the union combined. And I got elected 7 times to Delaware, notwithstanding the fact that I'm so anti-corporate America. Give me a break. How long would I last? But here's the deal. 55 of the largest corporations, the Fortune 500, paid 0 in federal taxes last year. And they made $40 billion in profits. Look, I said, I'm a capitalist. That's not about punishing anybody. But why in God's name should a billion-dollar corporation pay a lower tax rate than a teacher or a firefighter? So, folks, I really mean it. We can raise the standard of living for hard-working families without raising taxes, without raising inflation, without raising the deficit. And let me remind everybody, I actually last year cut the budget $360 billion cut in the budget. And we're on track now to be the first president in history to have a lower deficit by over $1 trillion in 1 year. Look, folks, we can tackle these challenges, but we can't do it without you. You understand what families are up against every time you walk down the street in your neighborhoods. You understand the cost if we fail to act. We need your voices, the voice of local officials who understand what your communities need. Your senators and congressperson will listen to you all. If you can get this done, if we can get it done, there's no limit to what America can achieve. So let's give working people the quality they deserve, the quality of life. Let's face the challenge ahead and let's keep building a better America. We can do this. Thank you for taking the time. Love you all. Keep at it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thanks, everybody. I really mean it. Thank you. Every time I'd walk out of my grandpop's house up in Scranton, Pennsylvania, his name was Ambrose Feening, he'd yell, "Joey, keep the faith." And my grandmother yelled, "No, Joey, spread it. Go spread the faith. Let's get it done." Thank you.
And supported us is right in your tagline. Cities stronger together. This didn't happen. ARPA funding didn't happen because one city asked for it. The bipartisan infrastructure